Today, we're talking about something incredibly important, something that affects all of us, even if we don't always realize it, and that's voting in the US election. You know, a lot of people feel like their single vote doesn't matter, or maybe the process seems a bit confusing or intimidating. But the truth is, voting is one of the most powerful ways to make your voice heard, to impact the policies and decisions that shape our everyday lives. It's about having a say in who makes decisions on things like education, healthcare, the economy, and the environment, all things that directly affect each of us. And here's an interesting fact that might surprise you. In many elections, a difference of just a few votes per district could actually sway the outcome. So, today I want to walk you through exactly how to vote in the US election, step by step, so you'll feel confident and prepared when it's time to cast your ballot. We'll cover everything from checking if you're eligible, to registering, to understanding your options for voting, whether that's in person or by mail, and even some tips to make the whole experience smoother. If you've ever felt uncertain about how it all works or thought it might be too complicated, stay with me, because by the end of this, I think you'll feel ready to take action. Let's get into it. First things first, you might be wondering, am I eligible to vote? Well, in the US, eligibility to vote mainly comes down to a few key requirements. You need to be a US citizen, at least 18 years old on or before Election Day, and meet your state's residency requirements. Now, each state has its own specific rules, so it's a good idea to double-check what applies in your area. And if you're unsure about any part of this, don't worry. Most states have made it really easy to find out if you're eligible with quick online tools. Just head to your state's official website or a reliable source like vote.org, where you can find details on your specific eligibility requirements in minutes. Once you know you're eligible, the next step is registering to vote. Now, I know registering might sound formal or a bit intimidating, but it's actually a very simple process, and in most cases, you can complete it online. Most states allow online voter registration, and even if your state doesn't, they usually have a mail-in option or an in-person registration method. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Each state has its own registration deadline. So, it's important to check this date for your state to make sure you're registered in time. Missing that deadline could mean missing out on your chance to vote. If you're not sure if you're registered, or maybe you moved recently, it's worth double-checking. You can check your voter registration status online too, and it only takes a few seconds. Now that you're registered, it's time to talk about how you actually vote. In the US, we have a few options, and the flexibility is great because you can choose what works best for you. The first option is in-person voting, which can either be on Election Day or, in many states, during an early voting period. Early voting can be really convenient since it allows you to avoid the long lines that sometimes happen on Election Day. If your schedule's tight or you're worried about crowds, early voting is a fantastic option. Most states have set up early voting sites, so you can find a location close to you, often with shorter wait times. Another option is mail-in or absentee voting, which is especially helpful if you're traveling, living abroad, or just prefer the flexibility of voting from home. Here's how it works. You request a mail-in ballot from your local election office, fill it out, and send it back before the deadline. Each state has different rules for this too, so you'll want to check the deadline for requesting and returning your mail-in ballot. And keep in mind, in some states, you might need to provide a reason for voting by mail, while others let anyone choose this option. So, it's worth looking up the specifics for your state to be sure you meet all the requirements. So then, what can you expect on the actual ballot? You're not only voting for the president or Congress. Often, there are local issues, referendums, and candidates for positions like school board or city council that appear on your ballot too. And these local choices can impact your daily life in meaningful ways, sometimes even more directly than national decisions. It's a good idea to take a few minutes beforehand to read up on what's on your ballot. You can usually find a sample ballot on your state's election website or through voter guide websites. This helps you avoid any surprises, and you can go in feeling prepared to make decisions on every item. And next, let's talk about IDs. Many states require you to show some form of identification when you go to vote in person. This can range from a driver's license, a state-issued ID, or sometimes even a utility bill. Each state has different rules on what IDs they accept, so it's smart to bring a couple of options with you just in case. If you're voting by mail, make sure you follow the instructions carefully on how to fill out and return your ballot. Some states might require a witness signature or even notarization, so double-checking the rules here can save you from any headaches later on. Another thing to consider is making a voting plan. Think about when, where, and how you want to vote ahead of time. For example, if you're voting in person, look up the location of your polling place and check the hours they're open. Some people like to go early in the morning, others prefer midday or right after work. Having a plan can help you avoid any last-minute stress and make sure everything goes smoothly. One question I get a lot is, what happens if I make a mistake on my ballot? Mistakes can happen, and if you're voting in person, a poll worker can usually help you request a new ballot to correct any errors. If you're voting by mail and make a mistake, check if your state allows you to request a replacement ballot. The key is not to feel rushed. Take your time and make sure everything is filled out correctly. And if you're someone who enjoys learning more about candidates or issues, there are so many resources available today, from official state guides to nonpartisan websites that provide background on each candidate and issue. This way, you're not just voting based on a name, but making informed choices that align with your values. Once you've cast your vote, you might be wondering what happens next. Well, your vote will be counted and included in the total results that help determine the election's outcome. In some states, you can even track your ballot to make sure it's been received and counted. This can be a nice way to have peace of mind, knowing that your vote made it through the system. Finally, remember, voting is just one part of staying involved in our democracy. You can continue to make a difference by staying informed, discussing issues with others, and even encouraging friends and family to vote. Every voice really does count. And when we all participate, we help create a future that reflects our collective values and needs. So, thanks for being here and learning about the voting process with me. I hope this breakdown made it all feel a bit more approachable and less daunting. Take that first step, check your eligibility, register if you haven't, and make your plan to vote. Let's all be a part of shaping the future. And if you have any questions or thoughts, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Happy voting, everyone!